So the Marvel Rivals devs have finally really locked in, and they're making two really big changes to the game. But are they going to help save the game or make it worse? Let's talk about it. YouTube, what's going on, man? It's Father Dark. I'm here on August 1st. It's a beautiful Friday afternoon. It's actually pretty cloudy. I don't think it's going to rain, but still a beautiful day. Woke up this morning. Hope all the rest of you are having a great day. Hope you had a great week, a great month of July. If you didn't, I'm sorry to hear that. I apologize. But let's talk about it. So the other day, Marvel Rivals released their little dev talk that they do prior to either the beginning of the season or when they're about to do the mid-season update. And they talked about a bunch of different things they're going to be doing. There's a lot of characters that are getting not necessarily reworked, but some pretty big changes. We got some nerfs, some buffs, different things and stuff like that. Obviously, we got Blade coming. I know a lot of people are excited about that. But the two things that they talked about that really stuck out to me were some things that we're going to go ahead and get into now. The first thing that I want to talk about is something that I had made a few videos talking about that had been some rumors for a while. And that's in regards to giving out harsher penalties and punishments and stuff like that for people that rage quit and just, leave matches and stuff like that, and trolling as well when things aren't going their way. Now, for me personally, this has been something that has been very irritating to me since day one. Previous game that I played prior to ever playing Marvel Rivals, this channel was a Call of Duty channel. Call of Duty is very different in the sense that it kind of has this illusion that it's a team-based game, but if you're actually really good, you are able to carry simply because of the fact that one, the rank that people are usually playing is Warzone, which is a battle royale. So the way that they do your ranking up and stuff is completely different. You don't necessarily have to win. It's more about surviving and getting eliminations while you're surviving and stuff like that. And a lot of times I was able to do that without my teammates. Whereas coming over to this game, which is the whole entire design is designed around it being a team-based game. Now, let's say you're a platinum player, can you carry through like bronze and silver and stuff like that if you're actually going up against bronze and silver players? Yes, you're probably more than likely not going to get like trapped in those elos or whatever. But at the same time, though, once you get up to a certain rank, you kind of start needing your teammates to be somewhat competent. You may not need them to be the best players in the world or anything like that, but you at least kind of need them to be able to hold their composure and have some type of game sense about themselves and stuff like that. So this has been like a massive change for me. And one of the first things that I noticed about this game was, for a lot of people, the second that things weren't going the way that they were supposed to, or they got triggered by something that a teammate said or whatever, there's a plethora of different reasons. But one of the biggest things I noticed was you'd have people that would just straight up leave the match. And there's only about a minute into the match that you'll have before they actually just cancel it for everybody and you don't lose any points. But the way that it's been prior, obviously, has been that, a lot of times you might be a minute and a half into the game, a minute and 10 seconds, whatever. Somebody rage quits or they just start selling and staying in their spawn, whatever the case is, and you're just SOL. And, you have the surrender option, but a lot of people seem to be under this illusion that when you surrender, you actually lose less points. That is not true. To anyone that thinks that that's true, Google is your friend and it is free. It's just a fact. You don't lose less points. The only reason that the surrender button is there is for situations when people, you think like, okay, well, we've lost people on the team or whatever. Let's go ahead and get out of here. Or if you just realize that there's just no way you're going to win, it allows you to save time. It's not necessarily a situation of like, oh, if you surrender, you're going to lose less points. Let's just surrender. And a lot of people, they don't actually look things up. They don't know. They just hear something from someone else. And a lot of people think like, hey, let's just lose less points. Let's just surrender. And then that's another point that I want to bring up too really quick. In a previous video, I had said that I really think they should get rid of the surrender button. And a lot of people were like, well, no, don't get rid of the surrender button because, what about when people leave? That is what's called an exception. The surrender button should pop up when you do have people leave. I just had a match a couple of days ago where within like the first minute and a half of the match, both the supports and one of the DPS just left like within seconds of each other. And my team, I guess we were all like of the same mindset. We were like, you know what, whatever, let's just give it a shot anyway and keep going. But still though, in those situations, I do believe that there's nothing wrong with surrendering. You're more than likely not going to win a 3v5. Or a 3v6, I mean. But the point that I'm making is that the surrender button should exist for those situations. But when it exists just because you're getting diffed a little bit and the match isn't going the way that you think it should be going, that should not be a moment when you surrender. Too many people just think, oh, okay, well, it's not going the exact way that I feel like it should. Let me just quit. And the problem with that is that I have lost count of how many times it seemed like we weren't going to win. And at the very end, someone just made one little change, or we really locked in, or whatever the case is, that the other team got too confident, whatever it was. And we ended up winning a situation that seemed like there was no way out, or that we weren't going to win. Right. So that's why I don't necessarily believe in surrendering. Not to mention that just me personally, I'm not a quitter. I don't believe in quitting in anything. That's not how my mind works. I wasn't raised that way. I'm always going to fight through and try to find a solution to something. Right. So that's just with that. Right. But the situation with punishing people for throwing matches and rage quitting, whatever it is that you want to call it, whatever the situation is, it really just sucks, because a lot of these ranked matches is time. And I talk about this a lot. Time is one of the most valuable things on the planet, because you cannot buy more. You cannot get it back. Once it's gone, it's gone. Like, that's just it. So when I sit down and I'm playing ranked and I've allotted a certain amount of time for myself to play the game and to play these matches and try to rank up, and now you've wasted 20 to 25 minutes of my life now, simply because you just, have a quitter mindset, or you're having a bad day, whatever the case is, it's extremely infuriating. It's something that's made me want to stop playing this game numerous times and go back to a game that is infested with hackers like Call of Duty. But I really enjoy this game, and I really enjoy the community and making videos and talking about these things with you all. So I've just kind of been holding on and having faith that eventually they would rework or change kind of how they handle things in regards to the rank system and stuff, and dealing with these individuals. And now we're to that point. They said that there's going to be harsher penalties. Now, they haven't went into detail and said exactly what these penalties will be, so we don't know if it's a situation where they're going to immediately kind of like take you out of rank for a few days, or if it's going to be like a system of like the first time it's an hour, or whatever the case is. We don't know that yet, but I do have faith that they will, or they already have found some type of way that is a fair way. And I do believe that I don't believe in chastising people. So I think that there should be a situation where you get like an initial warning about the situation, and then it's like, okay, now you've been warned about it. You did it again, especially if it's in high frequency. Now you're probably, not able to play rank for a day or so. If you do it again, now we're taking you out for a week. You do it one more time. Now it's the rest of the season, whatever the case is, right? So that's kind of where I'm at with that. And what I find really interesting about it is that when I've talked about this before in the past, there were so many people that actually came out and they just admitted it. They were like, yeah, I leave matches all the time. If I don't like this, or if this isn't going my way, or if my teammate looks at me funny, if the wind blows to the left instead of the right, I'm out of there. And I'm just thinking to myself, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, what are you doing, man? You know what I'm saying? And I really don't understand that mindset behind it. And there's a lot of people that they really have it in their head that like, oh, well, if they start giving harsher punishments for people throwing matches, I'm just going to stop playing this game. And the fact that you think that any of us care is just mind boggling to me. Like, people think that like we'd rather have 300,000 people playing this game, and 150,000 of them are throwing matches and stuff and rage quitting, versus just having 150 real ones that actually just stick around and tough it out even when things aren't going the way that they want them to. So that's just one aspect of it, but that is something that I did find really interesting the last time that I've brought this up and I've talked about it. How many people seem to just have it in their heads that it's okay to rage quit when things aren't going the way that you want them to be going. And the thing is too, is that I say it a lot as well, like with quick play. With quick play, it doesn't bother me as much. I know there's certain people out there that get really offended by this, because they're like, well, I don't play ranked, or I only play quick play because I have friends that are on different platforms and we can't play ranked together, so I take that very serious, or whatever the case is. The devs said it themselves. Quick play, just like in 99.9% of games like this, and not just hero shooters, but any kind of competitive multiplayer online game, whatever you want to call it, there's always like a more of a quick play kind of leisure mode, and then there is a mode that is called competitive and ranked. And the difference between the two is, just like what the devs said, is that it's supposed to be a mode that you can go into and try new characters and do all these different things and have fun and be relaxed without having to worry about the pressures of the competitive ranked mode. But when you are in ranked, there's a difference. See, first of all, in quick play, I've had people rage quit like 3 and 4 times throughout the match. I've had multiple people just load in, leave, multiple teammates, and then new people came in, and we actually ended up winning the match. Now, the thing is that me personally don't care about winning quick play. If I'm playing quick play, it is to lord a character, or it is to learn a character, or try out new things, or it's just a situation where I'm just playing with people in our server or whatever the case is and having fun, right? When I load into ranked, I'm playing it seriously. I'm not there to have fun. I'm there to rank up. I don't feel like ranked personally should be a fun experience for people. A lot of people, they say that a lot. They're like, well, rank should be fun. It should not be fun. I don't care what it is that you're doing in life. Once you start getting into like the serious aspect of it, and you're not, it's like thinking about it like this, right? If you're at the park and you're just shooting the ball, you're having fun, you go down there on Sundays and you shoot around with the people in your neighborhood and stuff like that. That can be fun. Yeah, some people might be taking it competitively, but overall, it's fun. There's nothing on the line. There's nothing going on. It's not your job. It's not anything like that. Do you think that LeBron James is like, yo, when I go to the finals, man, I'm just trying to have fun, bro? No, that man is there to win. That's what that's his job. That's what he was signed for. That's what he's doing. I know a lot of people might say, well, gaming isn't your job. Brother, you're missing the point. When the mode is called competitive, you're there to try as hard as you can to win. You're supposed to be drenched in sweat after the fact. What else are you signing up for? Right? So that's just my little rant about that. But the next thing that I want to get into is them monitoring the chat. Now, this I do find really, really interesting, simply because I have seen this done numerous times before. Now, when I say seen it done, I heard a lot of people talking about this in Overwatch. Now, Overwatch, I only played it a handful of times with friends and family members, like pretty much like when I was forced to. It wasn't something that I enjoyed doing. So I didn't really give it any kind of like whatever. And most of the time I was talking either in like a party chat or Discord or something like that when I did play it. Now, the time when this started to affect me was actually when Call of Duty started implementing this. They started implementing it like a handful of years ago. I don't remember exactly when it was, but the point that I'm making is that the way that they started doing it was they started using an AI to monitor chat. Now, obviously, we don't know the inner workings of the AI and how that stuff works, but the problem started to come when the AI would start to just ban you for anything. There's a video you can find going way, way back to the days when this was a Call of Duty channel, probably like 2 years ago, where I had made a video talking about how I got banned for 14 days. Now, in this video, I showed the whole entire gameplay from start to finish. I was just playing squads, but I was playing by myself. I was just making a video showing how one of the loadouts was meta or whatever. And I had these two teammates that just spent the whole match just so triggered that I wasn't with them. And they were struggling so hard to just stay alive. I think combined, these guys might have had 7 eliminations. Now, at the end of the video, I was on like, I think 24 eliminations. And one of the guys that had like 3, he was like 3 and 7 or something like that, right? He starts telling me how to like win the match. He's like, okay, well, just focus on this guy and just look over here and do this. And I'm like, I turned my mic on. I was like, hey, bro, can you just let me lock in? There's only 3 people left. I'm more than likely going to win this match. This is a bot lobby. I got this. No issue, right? So I ended up winning the match, and the guy had said something, and I don't remember exactly how it started, but I was pretty much like, hey, Sherlock Holmes, everybody. The guy just stated the obvious, the thing I was literally already doing and going to do. And, he starts going in. He's like, oh, well, you're a TikToker / YouTuber. I feel sorry for you, yada, yada, yada. And all I said to this guy was, yo, put my fries in the bag, man. Like, just you're sitting there 3 and 7 spectating me with more eliminations than you and your homeboy combined times like 3. If I was you, I might just take notes instead of trying to, critique and tell someone how to play the game when you have no idea how to play it yourself, right? And at no point did I say anything that was bannable or anything crazy like that. End of the match, I get a notification saying that I've been banned for 14 days, right? So that is something that I do find interesting. Now, these AIs, they can be using different ones. Maybe they've evolved over time if that's how they're doing it. I don't know exactly, but even with me appealing it, I was still chat banned for 14 days. And this wasn't the first time that happened. That was just one isolated incident that I actually happened to be like recording for a video. So I was able to show it to everybody and stuff like that. The problem is, though, that I have is that once you start doing that, a lot of times what happens is that people start to not talk like altogether. Now, it's a trade-off, because are there extremely toxic people in this game? Yes. There's extremely toxic people in pretty much any game that's competitive that has voice chat. I've yet to find one that just isn't. That's just how it is. Now, I'm not saying that that's the way that it should be, but I'm saying that this is just what gaming has been. And in my opinion, it's gotten a little bit better over the years because I've come from the era of like the original Modern Warfare 2, where the kind of stuff that people would say in those lobbies, nowadays they would throw you under the jail for half of that stuff, right? But that was just normal ways of speaking to people back then. And I do feel like it's gotten a little bit better. But the thing is that, you know, I'm a Twitter lurker. I stay on Twitter all day, every day. That's pretty much how I get like the majority of my news and information in real time and stuff like that. And it's the same thing with this community. There's a lot of stuff that to me, I don't even pay attention to or think about that a lot of you get really upset about. And I learn about this stuff from Twitter. And a lot of times it ends up making into videos or I'll reference it and talk about it. Now, first thing this morning I saw when I got on was there was a guy who said that he had been banned for 9 days for calling his teammates factory workers or something like that. Now, I don't know if there's some kind of like underlying meaning to that or something that I don't know about, but just saying that your teammates are factory workers, I don't see how that's a big enough deal to where you should be banned for 9 days. Now, the thing is that I can't verify this, but it just kind of seemed too random for him to make it up. And he was replying to the video post that they had made where somebody had cut out the segment from the dev talk where they specifically said that they would be, monitoring chat and stuff like that and handing out bans. Now, the thing is like maybe there's kind of like a throttle fork where they can turn it all the way up and they can say, okay, just anything even remotely like that someone's saying that's not GG pretty much, let's ban them or whatever, right? Maybe they can tweak it and turn it down. Maybe this guy was lying. I don't know. But at the same time, though, like I said, I do think it's a little coincidental that we did get the update the other day. And sometimes there are a lot of times where they add features in and they'll say that they're not adding them in right away, but then they do. Like, for example, with the surrender thing, for a while now, for me, it's been a situation where you don't need the full team to accept the surrender. But then I just noticed the other day, they said that they would be adding that feature in with the update. Same thing with like Thor canceling Rune Awakening. I could have swore I've been canceling Rune Awakening for like the last week or two or however long it's been. But some people were saying they don't have that option. So I don't know what's up with that. Like I said, the Thor thing, I might be tweaking about that. But in regards to the surrender thing, I know for a fact that that's been that way for me for a while. So it might be something where they're kind of rolling this stuff out in waves, kind of like testing it out initially, getting some feedback or whatever. And then, from their internal, studies and stuff like that. And then going, okay, well, let's tweak this or whatever the case is. But like I said, the problem that I do find with that is that a lot of people get to a point to where they might get banned for stuff that really wasn't that bad. So then they stop talking. And I know that there has to be a middle ground because like I said, with me being on Twitter, there's one guy who like his whole entire shtick that he does on Twitter is he records voice chat and he records like the just horrendous stuff that a lot of people will say to him. Me personally, I have never had game chat on in this game. I think it was on one time after an update and it kind of like reverted some of my settings, which one of those settings was the voice chat. And as soon as I realized it was on, I immediately turned it off. And the reasoning for that is because I just get way too distracted when I hear stuff that irritates me. Like if someone has like, music blasting in the background, you got 40 people in your house and you're having like a party or whatever, babies crying in the background, smoke detectors, that really triggers me. Like, brother, put the batteries in your smoke detector, please, for the love of God. Batteries are dirt cheap and the smoke detectors, they last for like half a lifetime. So that just triggers me to no end, hearing like little things like that. And the thing is like, these are all things that I don't subject anyone else to. You don't ever hear any of that stuff in the background, any of my content when I'm streaming, when I'm playing a game or anything like that. So I only ask of others the same thing that I would ask of myself, right? But still though, I don't ever keep my chat on. And one of the bigger reasons too is because I'm being a PC player, even though I use a controller, I have my keyboard and mouse is here. I got two of them actually, because I have two different PCs that I use, one for streaming, one for just only playing video games on. Nonetheless, so the point I'm making is keyboard is right here. If I need to type anything, it takes me about 2 seconds to just press enter and type and then press enter again and go back to whatever I was doing, right? Not the fastest typer in the world, but pretty decent. So there's usually not anything I need to say that I can't just say through text chat, which is how a lot of people on PC communicate and stuff like that. So for me, it's not really that big of an issue, but there are a lot of people, especially like if you're on console, a lot of people on console, they either can't use a keyboard or mouse because they're not allowed to, or they just don't have the option they don't have one that they can plug into their console, whatever the case is. And typing through like the actual controller is the most tedious thing ever. I just had to encounter that when I was doing my console run the other day, which that video should be coming out pretty soon because there was some really interesting stuff about that. Now, the thing is too that I want to add, and that reminds me as well, matchmaking is something that a lot of people bring up. A lot of people bring up matchmaking and they say, well, if matchmaking was fixed, it would cut out a lot of the toxicity of people leaving. And I'm going to be honest with you. I disagree with that. Because no matter how good matchmaking is, I came from a game, Call of Duty. I hate to keep bringing it up, but it's a really good example of a lot of like counterpoints to stuff in regards to this game. This game uses EOMM. EOMM is very interesting because EOMM is the complete antithesis of skill-based matchmaking. Skill-based matchmaking can be irritating because, for example, a lot of people say if you put skill-based matchmaking in ranked, it would solve everything. The problem with that is that in Call of Duty, that actually created two separate rank lobbies. So I'll give you an example. I have a friend of mine. He is not very good at Call of Duty whatsoever. He had, even after training him for months, he went from having like a 0.3 KD to having a 0.8 KD. And the thing is that when we would play together, he could never get nearly as many eliminations as me. Obviously, that we're two different skill levels. I'm like a 3.4 KD. He's a 0.8 KD. One day we were talking, he tells me, yo, I just reached platinum. And at this time I had just reached diamond. And I'm like, there's no way that you reach platinum. You wouldn't even survive in my silver lobbies. Like, how is it possible that you've reached platinum? He ends up sending me some clips of some gameplay because he wanted to start getting into making videos as well. I'm watching these lobbies and I'm seeing that these lobbies are completely different than my lobbies. Now, this makes sense in quick play, because that's how the game is designed. People that are at lower skill levels, they all get to play together. People in middle skill levels, they play together. And high skill players, they all play together. So obviously our lobbies are different. But I was seeing the same exact level of division in ranked. So you essentially had 2 to 3 different types of ranks for different people. And that's not fair. People that are, you shouldn't be able to reach a lower skill level of platinum, but still feel like you get the accolades and be able to say, I'm a plat player, because then what really is plat? Then we'd have to say, well, what level plat are you? Are you a lower level plat, a mid level plat, or a high level plat? You get what I'm saying here? Whereas in this game, it's different because EOMM just kind of like, basically it knows that a lot of people are going to rage quit. So after they've gotten whatever the algorithm decides is their acceptable amount of losses, it will just throw them in with people that can carry them. And then sometimes if the game feels like you've won too many times, it'll throw you in with people that it knows are going to sell the match based off their previous match history and the way that they handle certain situations. And I'll give you an example, little teaser for the console video that I'm going to do, right? This is a true story. I'm going to post the pictures and everything for you. In regards to what happened, playing a match yesterday, load in. I'm playing support because we only had one other support. It was Invisible Woman. I flex whenever I play, so I always wait until everyone's picked whatever they want, and then I'll just pick whatever's needed. I can play a few different roles or a few different characters from every role, right? So load in. This whole entire match, the team is just scattered. They're all over the place. The Thing, for some reason, our tank player, he just keeps pushing the enemy spawn by himself. Like, I do all this work to get the point cleared off, and he would just immediately push their spawn by himself. Our team kept pinging to go back to the point. This Thing just keeps running to the enemy spawn. I would try to follow up with him, but newsflash to people out there who don't ever play support and have like these misconceptions about how support works, there is no way that you can win a 2v6, especially when one person is just having to heal the other one, because there's no way for me to do damage. You both would have just got deleted, right? There's no way for one support player to put out enough healing on one player to combat 6 other people that are actually working together and trying to destroy you. So obviously, spoiler alert, y'all know how that turned out. He was getting absolutely shredded, right? So after the first round, he goes into the chat and he goes, "Hey Cloak, can you heal me? You're not doing anything. Can you heal me?" And I was like, brother, I have like 10K healing already. It was just the first round. It lasted for like 4 minutes. I physically was not possible for me to heal you anymore in that situation. And whole team kind of like starts jumping on me. And it was only one person, I think it was like the Magneto, who was like, "Bro, he's healing you. You're just terrible. You keep pushing spawn by yourself, et cetera, right?" Long story short, at the end of the match, when the scoreboard pops up, because men lie, women lie, but numbers don't, I had like 26K healing, and our Invisible Woman had 9. Not a single word was said to this Invisible Woman the whole entire game. And I knew something was off, because when you play this game long enough, especially if you played the support role enough, you start to be able to just feel when the other healer is not healing that much, because there's kind of like an ebb and flow when you have two support players that are kind of working neck and neck and healing and stuff like that. And I could just tell the second that I stopped healing, there really wasn't any healing happening. So I don't know what this invisible woman was doing. I have to go back and watch the replay. I don't know if she was just staying invisible the whole game and hiding and stuff like that and watching me from the shadows. I don't know what the hell this person was doing. But this is the whole reason I brought this up, is because of matchmaking. That shit is infuriating. Not only are you sitting here damn near carrying your team, but then they have the audacity to single you out. At the beginning of the match, I was SVP. I was SVP for most of the match until the Iron Man took it at the last second. As a support player, there's a problem there. You look at the board and you see that I have the most eliminations. I have the most healing. I had the most eliminations earlier in the game, right? I'm a support player. I shouldn't be having most eliminations, especially when I'm having to constantly heal everyone 24/7 to keep them up. That's just not going to be the case. But the point I'm making is that you look at the board, you see SVP or MVP, whatever it is at the time, next to the person's name, and your first thought is, let me tell this person they're not healing me enough. It's infuriating. And it does make this game very irritating. But at the same time, though, I don't really honestly think that they know a perfect solution, because skill-based matchmaking does not make it fun. There is no such thing as a relaxed match when you have skill-based matchmaking. That was the problem in Call of Duty. When you loaded in to just load in and just play and relax after a long day of work and have fun, the game was like, oh, do you actually know how to play the game? Well, every match is going to be a ranked match for you, even when you're not playing ranked. Same thing when you were in ranked. There was no such thing as bronze and silver and gold. Every lobby felt exactly the same because you were constantly being paired up with people that were just as good as you. So you would have some people that were actually genuinely stuck in bronze and silver because they were just, their matches were no different than what it was for platinum, diamond, and crimson and stuff for us. And like I said, EOMM is trash because no matter how good you are, sometimes the game is just going to go, hey, you know what? Here's teammates that you just cannot, there is no level of skill to counter these people. They are EOMM agents. They are designed solely to keep you where we want to keep you at. We all know the infamous rank up games and how those work. You're a few points away from ranking up. Don't play. Turn the game off. Because you already know what's going to happen. You're going to get sold hard. And that's an issue. There should be something that is in between, some type of Goldilocks thing, you know? But they just haven't figured that out yet. I don't know why, but that's just what it is. And like I said, a lot of people, they always think, well, the grass is greener on the other side. I have seen both sides. I have seen skill-based matchmaking and I have seen EOMM. Neither one of those are what you want. Trust me. Just take my word, please. I would not lie to you about it. Okay? So those are just my thoughts on it. But like I said, I do think that they're making a step in the right direction. And I think probably the next video probably will talk about matchmaking a little bit more and why I think from playing on different things like PC and playing on console and seeing how things are different. I've also been able to see how things are different when you have a newer account as well. The difference between someone who's actually a skilled player with a newer account like myself, when I've done that in the past for a video. And then like, for example, I've been paying attention to my wife. She just started playing the game. And obviously she has no idea how to really play that well because she just started playing. She's genuinely a new player. And seeing her lobbies and the type of players that she gets and that she goes against and stuff, I watched her win a match the other day with some people, and the only healer they had was Ultron. I saw this with my own eyes. It blew my mind that the enemy team just allowed that to happen. Like, it was just absolutely crazy. And these are the kind of things that I would never see. If I make an account right now from scratch, start playing, the game is immediately going to know. It's just going to be like, man, the way he's moving in the menu, this man knows what he's doing. Even though he's level 1, let's put him in with some other level 1s that just made accounts, but they also know what they're doing, right? Like there's all kind of intricacies to this in the matchmaking and stuff that I find very interesting. But that'll probably be the next video that I talk about, and then we'll move on to the console video and stuff, unless something else comes up that I wasn't expecting that's more interesting. But let me know in the comments though what you all think about the changes that they're making in regards to the ones that I brought up today. If there's some other really important ones that you'd like me to cover that you think are interesting, you can obviously bring those up as well. But I am definitely curious to know what you all think about the harsher penalties for leavers and throwers and stuff like that, what you think about them monitoring the chat, and, is that going to make you spend more time in Discord? Do you even have your chat on now? Are you happy for it? Whatever the case is. So I am really interested to hear, because like I say all the time, this isn't an echo chamber. There's a lot of things that I think, and then other people can add input and perspective that I didn't have before. And I do think it's interesting. And even at the worst case, at the end of the day, we can always just agree to disagree. So never really an issue. But yeah, so that's all I got for this video. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up, but I do appreciate you all for listening. I'm Father Dark, and I'll catch you on the next one.